Hello everybody, this is your boy Mr. What If here, bringing you a brand new lovely little video on my YouTube channel. And this is another part 3 to What If Deku was a Joestar / What If he had a stand. So, I'm gonna jump right into this video, jump right into it. So, Izuku is on the train, is taking the train to the UA Academy. And when he gets off the train and walks up, gets out of the train and leaves the station, he sees the boy he saw from yesterday, Leo Zeppeli. Leo and Izuku walk up to each other and just have a conversation. Just start on having a conversation about each other's abilities. And they're walking to the U.S. Walking to the UA. So while they're walking and having that conversation, Zuko mentions about his stand actually being a stand and not a quirk, and Leo Zeppeli talks about how his abilities is not a quirk either, it's actually just humble. And they just keep going off and on about how they use their abilities in a different way. And they start to grow somewhat of a, moving on from being acquaintance to somewhat to the gateway of becoming friends. So yeah. So when they get to the entry exam, they walk in and take their seats. For the written exam, I'm gonna say that Deku gets the highest score, and Leo Zeppeli is right behind him in second place. So yeah. But now let's get into the battle part. Now I'm gonna say that instead of Zuko being in the same battle portion of the exam, it's actually gonna be Leo in his spot. So Zuko's gonna be somewhere else. But so yeah. So Zuko gets ready to walks over. Zuko, when President Mike says 1, 2, 3, go, Zuko runs off like the other kids, but he runs over to a nearby bench. So Zuko sits down by a nearby bench and just sits, and then he says, "All right, smooth criminal, go have some fun." This is when we would see Smooth Criminal appear from thin air and then run off to destroy some robots nearby. And Smooth Criminal is doing it rather fast, is doing it quite fast and quite efficient by just going for the head. So he's attacking the robots by the head, getting Zuko a whole lot of points. And then Smooth Criminal gets surrounded by a whole lot of robots, but Smooth Criminal quickly uses one of the shackles and would take off all the shackles on his arm and surround himself with it. And then every time he would punch, then inside of the shackles start to form a mystical weird little aura thing inside. And then one of the robots get close to it and then quickly Smooth Criminal decks one of the robots in the face, decks another one in the chest, decks another one in its arm, and then as it's doing it, just yelling out, "Shoot, shoot, 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 shoot!" And that's what people, and then the kids meters away are just hearing someone yell out, "Shoot, shoot, 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 shoot!" And some other kids stop and look, seeing this weird looking figure taking down some of the robots. And some students attack the word figure thinking that it's a robot as well, but they don't know. Some students think, "Oh, he looks somewhat of a robot, somewhat mechanic, he looks somewhat of a robot." And some of the kids think that, "Oh, this might be an extra point an extra bonus robot or something like that because it wasn't mentioned. So this robot must be like extra bonus points. And then some would attack it, and then of course they would fail. They would either suffer massive brain damage, massive head damage, or body damage. Because right now Deku's not around Smooth Criminal to tell him to hold back power. He just told Smooth Criminal to go around and just take down anything that gets in his way. So yeah, Smooth Criminal is doing well. This is when the Smooth Criminal would use one of the shackles on his arm to form a little bit of a portal and go through it, and then the shackle will disappear. Then we would go back to Zuku, and we would cut back to Zuku looking at Smooth Criminal, asking Smooth Criminal did he take down a whole lot of robots. Smooth Criminal would nod his head yes, and disappear into mystic smoke. And then he says, well, that was quite something. Didn't get a lot of I hope that Smooth Criminal got a whole lot of experience from that, but hey. Well, I guess I don't really have to do nothing much and let all these other kids do what they have to do. I don't really have time for this. And as Deku lays down, would just stay on the bench and close his eyes. And some students would be, trying to mock Izuku for saying he's acting so cocky or something like that. Or is he sleeping in this or something like that? And then we would cut to the end of the entry exam. And if you're wondering what happened to Uraraka and Ida and all those other kids, don't worry. Leo Zeppeli took down the robot kind of the same way Deku did, except like Deku did in canon, Leo Zeppeli handled that. He handled it quite rationally, destroying the buildings and might injure some students, but he did well enough. So yeah. Then we would cut to a somewhat redheaded guy. Sorry about that. So we would cut to a scene where a redheaded guy that is up on one of the podiums where the teachers are and the heroes are, he sees saw what Deku did. Well, he's not up there on the podium. He's actually inside of the exam, saw what Deku did. And then the guy with the red hair starts to follow Deku and his friend around. And then the guy with the red hair will tell two kids to go follow go follow the boy with the blue jacket, and I'll follow this kid with the suit on. And then those two kids would oblige, and then go follow Leo when Deku and Leo split their separate ways. Now Leo goes for a walk, and then Leo goes to the bus stop while Izuku heads for the train station. So Izuku is walking. He stops by the store to give himself Coca-Cola, and then he walks out the store. The red-headed guy is still following him around, and Deku is just drinking a Coca-Cola, just, walking to the train stop. And as Izuku is walking, Izuku feels like somebody is following him. And to where we will see Izuku walk down, to the train stop, give himself a ticket, and get on the train. And so would the guy with the red hair would do the same thing. So when Izuku sits down on the train, he realizes that there's nobody on the train. And then he remembers, oh, this is the early train, and nobody really catches the early train. Must be incredibly lucky to catch the early train. But it seems like just a few, like literally like 5 males, 6 females, 3 kids, 4 old people. That's it. He remembers this is the early train, and it's really hard to catch the early train. And then he says, well, at least I can relax. So Izuku just sits down while a guy with red hair would sit right next to him. And then the guy with the red hair would pull out a newspaper and just sit there and read. And Izuku would close his eyes and then breathe in and says, why are you following me? And then the guy in the red hair would say, what do you mean? And then this is when Izuku would open one of his eyes, and Izuku would open one of his eyes, and then he would say, you know exactly what I mean. Why are you following me? And then the guy in the red hair said, I saw what you did in the exams, and you were quite impressive, especially with that stand of yours. And this is when Izuku would get up from his seat and would walk to the back of the train, while the guy with the red hair would follow him. And then Izuku says, I have enough of this. We will cut to Izuku yelling out, smooth criminal. Smooth criminal would go for a direct blow to the stomach, punching the guy with the red hair back, sending him flying back just a little bit on the train, causing the train to shake a little bit due to the sheer force of power that Smooth Criminal did. And the guy in the red hair would say, you're not bad, kid, you actually got me to bleed a little. And then Izuku would say, well, that's what you get for following me, now back off. And then the guy with the red hair says, you had your turn. Time for me to have mine. Then we will cut to the guy in the red hair would pull out a weird device, pull out this weird looking shield thing, and put it around his hand and wrist, and says, now it's my turn. And one of his eyes changing from gold to red, and the guy would get surrounded in this red type energy mist. And then Izuku would be in shock, saying, what is it? This guy's really unleashed. What is he about to do? What is that thing? And then he says, I know you have a stand, because one of my fellow partners also have a stand. And let me show you what I'm capable of. And this is when the red-headed guy would yell out, Mystic Red. Red Inburst. No, not Red Inburst. Red Explosion. Sending a concentrated red beam attack towards Deku, which Izuku would use one of the shackles on Smooth Criminal to open up a little wormhole that would lead outside of the train in the back of the train, which actually caused the train to speed up a little bit due to the sheer power, causing the shackle to collide onto the back of the train, and due to that red explosion's power, it makes the train move faster. So right now they're on a speeding getaway train, and then the guy says, not bad. And then he said, how many more shackles you got until your stand runs out? But I guess you didn't think about that, did you? And then Izuku says, I got enough to take you out. And this is when the guy would say, really? Red Mystic. Red Explosion. And this is when Izuku would do it again, would try to make the wormhole, would try to make the wormhole bigger because the explosion was still concentrated, but it was a little bit bigger this time. And then the guy just keeps yelling out, Red Mystic, Red Explosion. And then he just keeps doing it and doing it again. until the point where it actually causes Deku Stan to start to crack the shackles. And then Izuku would say, "Smooth criminal." And then Smooth Criminal would start yelling out, would start doing his stand barrage of punches, saying, "Shoot, shoot, 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 shoot." And then the guy with the red hair would say, "Red Mystic, Mystic Cloak," which his body would get surrounded in the red mist and smoke, making like a little bit of a barrier shield. And every time Smooth Criminal would try to punch it, his punches would somewhat bounce back onto him. So when he would punch it, so imagine punching a punching bag, but once you punch the punching bag, your fist would come flying back and come back and hit you. So that's what's happening. And then Smooth Criminal keeps doing this, and how fast he's doing it, Izuku starts to cough out blood a little bit, and feels like his chest is literally in pain. And this is when the guy with the red hair would say, "You can do all you want, I still have you as a disadvantage. And plus, I've seen what your stand is capable of. We're in a small confined space, so you're gonna have to limit your punches. So you can't just go all wild if you wanted to. You gotta be focused, kid." And then Izuku would say, coming from somebody that always puts coming from a guy that's only using one attack that is just full on focus. And then Izuku would be like, "Wait, full on focused. His attack, Red Explosion, it's a focus attack. And we're in a small confined space. But if we were in a wide confined space, the focus attack wouldn't be a full-on sniper shot." Hold up. And this is when Zuko would get an idea and say, "Smooth Criminal, do it." And the Smooth Criminal would throw a shackle at the guy with the red hair, but the guy with the red hair would quickly smack it outside, would quickly use his powers and smack it outside the window of the train, causing it to leave a giant-sized crater in the wall inside the train tunnel. And then he said, "Look at that. One of your shackles are useless now. Good luck finding that." And then he would say, "Yeah, that's what you think." And this is when the guy would say, "You're finished, kid. You ain't got no more shackles. No, the shackles, look at that. All your shackles from your stand are broken. You ain't got nothing else. It's time I finish this and show you what real power looks like." And then this is when the guy would say, "Again, Red Mystic, Red Explosion," and go for another concentrated beam attack. But this time Deku would laugh, saying, "This is where you messed up." And then one of the shackles, but what he didn't realize is that when he smacked the shackle out of the window, the shackle was a diversion, was the diversion for something the shackle left on him. And the shackle left on him was another little shackle. Because remember, if you saw part 1, I said that Izuku stands Smooth Criminal, his shackles can act like a gateway for other weaponry. So, when he smacked the shackle popped out a little miniature shackle of it, and then it locked onto the dude's arm. And then when the dude charged up his hand for a red explosion, the red power, the red energy would start to light up. But it seems like then when he goes to fire it, the beam would start to disappear, and then he would say, "Wait a minute, what's going on?" And then the dude would say, And this is when Izuku would say, "Wait for it." Then you would hear nothing but a giant explosion all the way in the back of the tunnel, surrounded in red light. And then the dude would look on his wrist and see that there's a small miniature shackle that seems to be absorbing the power. And then this is when the guy with the red hair would say, "You little," and then Izuku would say, "Now you're finished. And one thing you do realize, you lost because you pissed me off, right?" And this is when Izuku would say, "You lost because you pissed me off. Now, Smooth Criminal, finish him." And then Smooth Criminal would just yell out, "Shoot, shoot, 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 shoot." And then the guy would just start, and as casual, normal JoJo Bizarre Adventure, you would see when they would use their stands, like Star Platinum when he would punch somebody, and you see what they look like when they get beat up by the stand barrage of punches. That's what the guy is getting beat up by. And then after when Smooth Criminal was done beating the crap out of the guy with the red hair, the train would come to a stop due to too much destruction that's going on in the train tunnels, causing everybody to run out and leave from the train. And Izuku uses this chance to run out and get away from the guy with the red hair. The guy with the red hair will quickly try to get some wind of himself to get up out the train to go chase Izuku, which he somehow managed to do. And then Izuku is just running. And then the guy with the red hair is trying to catch up to Izuku, but Izuku's just moving too fast. Then Izuku would turn a corner and start to run down an alleyway, and then the guy with the red hair would turn into the alleyway as well and try to catch up. And then Izuku realized that he's got himself trapped in sees that there's another way and takes another alley, leading him somewhere over by the docks, the shipping docks. And then the guy with the red hair tries to catch up, but Izuku jumps over a fence and makes his way down to the shipping docks. And then the guy with the red hair would do the same thing. Sorry about that. I had to go do something real quick for that small little pause. Yeah, so the guy with the red hair would do the same thing, jumping over the gate, try to catch up to Izuku on the shipping docks, and Izuku turns around to see that the guy with the red hair, even though he's beat up pretty badly, he's still moving. And Izuku would yell out, saying, "You're pretty relentless." And then Izuku would say, "You really want to die, don't you?" And then the guy with the red hair would say, "Not until I make a proposal, make an offer." And then Izuku would say, what are you proposing?" And then the guy with the red hair would say, "I'm proposing a deal. You join me and my gang. You join me and my gang, and you ain't gotta worry about being so stuck up." And then Izuku would say, "What do you mean by stuck up?" And then he says, "I basically know a little bit about you. Like how you and that guy with the blue jacket, that kid, took down those little punks protecting my little sister. And I done some research on you. And I had one of my guys follow you around. And surprisingly, you come from a rich family, but your living condition, it's kind of bad for a rich kid, isn't it? You disowning your family and everything. Well, not the family name, but living with your parents." And then Izuku would say, "Yeah, what's about it?" And the guy would say, "You come join me in my gang, and you get to live like a king." And then Izuku would say, "I don't know about the king part, but since you're so determined, I guess I can give it a shot. And then this is when we would cut back to the guy with the red hair. Sorry about that. Yeah. So the guy with the red hair would say, "My name is Yu Yake, and I would like for you to join. Do we have a deal? Joey Hizuku Joestar." And then we would end this part right here. Hope you guys like, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace, fams.